everyone. Welcome to Weekend Project. This is Laura Lynn of the Mom and Pop Quilt Shop, and we're very happy to see you here today. We're working on April's block of the month, Square in a Square, etc. that Pop designed on Thursday night for his Tech Talk, so hopefully you guys watched it. And we're going to build it out today. So clearly it's a square and a square and a square and a square with some more squares. So we're just going to have some fun and build it out. So it shouldn't take too long, really. So as you know, I was building it out in a test fabric first because these are 16-inch squares that we've been building for our block of the month. So this was my test fabric, and I've been kind of keeping with some blues and some purples along the way, just trying to make it so it would match in a scrappy yet form of colors. So isn't that pretty? I really like it. And this doesn't take very long to get together. And as it being a 6-inch square, or whatever it ends up measuring, sorry, forgot, I meant to do that. It actually makes a nice little block itself. So if you were to continues to repeat that, I think it would look really, really neat. So anyways, really love it. And that's what it looks like. Okay, so we'll just put that there. Okay, so first we'll build the square and square and square. And we build that by starting with a square. Okay, so there's my centerpiece because I have it as my centers, the darker color, and that other, the creamy tan or whatever is like the other pinky tone sort of thing. So, but that's the way I've chose my colors to match them all like that. So I can make a big quilt and the two fabrics, right? So, and I also like the scrappy version as well. Okay, so just, you're going to add the triangles, one on each side, like here, and then you're going to press, and then you're going to add the other ones over here. Okay. Uh-oh. Oh, it was Sophie. I thought I saw you-know-who. I think I heard me do the countdown. He had to come get his time. Sophie's just trying to get comfy on her bed. She's like, oh, I know what you guys are doing. I might as well just go have a nap. All right, so now we just did those two sides. We're gonna press, because we need to press it open. Okay, move it a little closer here. Oh, so I was gonna try and use my left hand more. There we go. Okay, so it just presses like that. Get your little tips on the corners there, and then we're gonna put our other little ones right here, and that's what's gonna give us another square. So this will be one square and a square, okay? Once we get it finished. And then we'll put another square around it. And just think, if you were to build this out from the center of one quilt, like this one, I think that would be pretty darn cool. Especially like maybe in a black and white. What do you think of that? I think that'd be cool. And you're going to try and even those points up. You're going to try and even them up on either side. Here, I'll hold it there so Pop can get a good look. So you can, equal portions of your little triangle bits are hanging off. You're going to trim them off, but this, because you're cutting the square and you're cutting that square on a diagonally once or twice, that gives you your piece. So these little corners, you don't need them, but they need to be there for sewing. So that gives you that little extra bit, and then you're just going to chop them off. But try to make sure you have it on equal portions. And you can always, when you loop up your in the center here, does it form like a little square in the center with them overlapping? If it does, then you're okay, right? I would think, because that means it's equal. And then we're going to press that. And then we're going to trim off those little tails or ears or whatever you guys call them. They have many names. Okay, so that's what your square and a square looks like. Oh. Can't teach this old dog new tricks, I tell you. All right, okay. And then we're just going to square it up a little bit, okay? And depending on your fabric, like this creamy colored one is very, very, you know, I guess tender or flimsy, not flimsy, but you know, not as stiff and strong as the pink, right? So I need to make sure I'm trying not to stretch it too much as I'm sewing the block together, right? Because it's just going to easily pull it out of square. So I'm just trying to even it up on all edges to make a nice pretty square and a square. All right, and now we're going to add the pink ones to these sides right here. Okay. So bring those over here, and we'll line it up, one on either side. The little triangles hanging over off the edges. Okay. And then just sew down. Okay. Now we press as we're starting to build that other square and a square and a square. Okay. And I just find it easiest to press out. Just press out, press out, press out, because you're building from the center. It's easier to go out, out, out than trying to force everything on the inside. To me, to building these, especially the squares and squares and squares and more squares. Okay, so just one on either side. Line it up. Trying to visually give equal portions of those little tips of those triangles. The rest is really easy. It's sewing 2 rectangles together and 2 half square triangles together, so, or to make a half square triangle. So, easy peasies. Okay, now we press and then add the last one. Okay. Okay, so that's pressed. Now we're going to nip off these little guys right here to make sure when we go to add our creamy piece, the next piece here, the next triangle piece, that these aren't getting in the way and you're not going to see them from underneath. Okay, so just kind of even up your little ruler on the side, give it a little trim. Okay, and that's all you do. That makes it nice and pretty and clean to set up your next set, right? Okay, it looks so pretty. It really does. That square and the square and the square is like a hugging, you know, or present, the endless present. It's, you open it, another box, and you open it, another box. Do. That's not quite even. And because I can see these 2 fabrics, I have a nice little square right in that center there. Okay, so you know that it's getting, they're crossing over right at the tips where they should, right? And hopefully it stays. But yeah, you have like a little square. And then it helps you just to kind of visually make sure that you got things equal proportion on either side. I know it's such a little thing, but it makes a big difference in the end. And if you could just take the few little moments at that point in time instead of just placing it on and sew, place and sew, if you just kind of make sure those little points are, it's going to make a much more prettier block. Okay, and then we'll press, and we'll add these last 2 here, and then we'll build out the rest of the blocks. Easy peasies. Our little plants are growing like crazy. They're getting so big. Hopefully, you know, things change outside and we can get them in the ground. I always want to I always try to, at the fall, but I never get enough time to, or realize that I need enough time to put more tulips in the ground and build, what is it, not necessarily winter storage, but it's where you can kind of put a little plastic or a glass top on it to help temperature the plants to going outside without getting the bitter wind and stuff like that, but you still get the light. I know there's a name for it, and someone will leave it in the comments, and I really, really appreciate it. But I just can't think of it right now. It's like a winter box or something, I don't know. Okay, that just a little, make sure we're doing a nice little square in the center. Even up on that side. And that is our center square. Square and a square and a square and a square. Okay. There we go. Beautiful. I really liked it. And can you imagine that? Or then this, and then a solid square, and then another one of these, and then a solid square, something like that. I think it would look really nice. And then that solid square is going to end up making a star in the end, because all these little white bits, yeah, really, it's a pattern in a pattern. Just by putting a white square or a light colored or a solid color next to it. So there we go. Isn't that beautiful? Love it. Okay, so trim that up just a smidge, and then we will build out our other ones, which shouldn't take too long. 2 shakes of a rabbit's tail, if there's any rabbits around. Okay, so now we got all that done. Very pretty. Okay, now we're going to start building out these ones, this one right here, the 2 rectangle pieces, and we need to do 4 of those, okay, because that goes on each side. All right, so that's our half squares over there. Put 2 and 2. Oh, did I not trim that one up? I think my creams are bigger than my pinks. I think I forgot to do a trim. I did. Whoopsies. Okay. I had them cut the lengthwise, but not quite the width. I had 3.5 for some reason. I knew it wasn't 3.5. It was it's 3 1/8. Let me just double check to confirm that it is 3 1/8. Okay, so let me go back and fix my error there. 1, 2, 3 1/8. See, that's how much that was off. I knew it was off, even just by visually looking at it. Okay, there we go. Much better. I would have been like, why is my square so big? What's going on here? And for this project, I have just chosen white thread. I didn't have the pink thread that I got on discount when I first started this, or I probably would have used it. But nonetheless, just white. Try to be consistent. If you're like doing a block of the month and it only comes out once a month or whatever, try and keep, maybe even take that whole spool out and put it with that project, so that you know your spool and your bob, and you have it every time you go to, start building it again, right? So if you're using a specific thread. All right, so we just got to build those 4, and then we press. And of course, this way we want to press to the dark side. We'll press to the pink, because that cream is really see-through, or light, I guess. Okay, all right, so let's move that out of the way. And you just like lift up the side that you want it being pressed to, and it just naturally goes that way. Okay. Okay, now that's all that done. That's this piece right here. All those right there we've done, and this one. So if we wanted to, we could build our middle row, but we won't. We'll just set it up against each other so we know we're going to build it out here, and here, and here, and now we'll set these ones up to get sewn, okay? Sorry, I had to readjust my chair, and now it needs to be readjusted. I keep sliding out again. So it happens when you look over and you hit the wrong button and you wanted to go up and the chair went way out of its setting. Almost got, it was like going for a ride on a wild bull. Off his chair, fucking Bronco. Yeehaw! All right, so there's 4 of these to build out. And they're nice and big. And I want to make sure I'm doing them all the same way, just in case. I know it shouldn't really matter considering it's only 2 pieces, but you know, I've been down that road before. Thinking I was a-okay to flip it, and it was not okay to flip it. Okay, all right, almost there. I really like this block, and this one repeated looks really, really good. I think they all look good repeated. Actually, Pop has a creation he's been kind of working on. I think he just finally printed the pattern. I think we called it Crimson Rose or something, wasn't it like that? Something, I don't know. Maybe one day we'll see it as a weekend project. Or maybe even just as a long arm Wednesday. It's quite pretty. And that looks really awesome repeated, the block itself. All right, so here we do the same thing. We're going to press to the pink or press to the dark. Okay. And if you're not sure why you do that, see, this is a perfect example, okay? See how sheer that cream is? If you press the fabric so it was onto the cream side, look how much you can see, right where it goes from the, it'd be this huge shadow effect, and you wouldn't want that, right? So if you press it to the dark, it disappears, right? And if you have, like, you're working with dark fabrics, it doesn't matter, you know, and even at some cases people split the seams. You know, there's, you know, press to the left, press to the right, do the hokey pokey, you know, oops, see, as I press that down, part of it folded over, and you can see just that little bit of a shadow effect, and where it doesn't. See, and if I were to stitch that all together, then it'd be, that little part would drive me crazy, because that's all I would be able to see, you know what I mean? So just kind of make sure it gets back over to this side, so you're not seeing that whole shadowed effect from the seam, okay? Do a little finger press to kind of hold it there because it wants to have that memory already. And that's probably another reason why Jenny Doan sets the seam on the back side and then presses on the front. Okay. That was just so rebellious. Still wants to fold over. Even after all that press. That one corner. All right, there we go. Now, I didn't bother trimming the little tipsy toes off of these guys because it didn't really seem that it was necessary. Okay, so to make sure the points are going out, the dark corners are out here, out to the outside, and you're kind of almost visually making a continuous circle with that other color. Do you see what I mean? Like, because you got this connected, that's up connected, that's connected, okay? So if that helps you visually, you know what I mean? Okay, that's good. It's connecting there, here, and here. There we go. And that's our beautiful block. Love it. Yes, it is. Moving on. Okay. So. And then we're done. Till tomorrow, when we'll be working on the purple. And I'm very excited. Okay, so that's there. Put it back in its position so you're not mixing anybody up. You're not going to get confused. And I find that these blocks are big enough, you don't really need a pin, but if you feel that you need to make sure that things are going to stay where you want them, then go ahead and put one in. That's why you have them, you know. Yes, I'm very excited about the next scrappy quilt because it's for somebody I already have in mind. So I'm very excited to be building, making it for her because I know she will love it. She loves purple. And I made her a really beautiful bag on the long arm, the circle bag, because she knits, and she wanted something to hold her knitting in and be able to go over her shoulder, like a very similar to something like that, the bag that we made on last weekend project. Yeah, so she doesn't know it. She probably knows it now, though, if she's watching this video. There we go. That's our center row. Beautiful. All right, there we go. Flip. And sew, and flip, and sew, and flip, and sew. And I was just holding that little seam down, so when I was stitching, because I could have flipped it the other way and stitched down that way, I held that seam down so when coming forward, it wasn't going to flip and flop. Okay. Okay, so lay there. Make sure we got the pattern correct. The darker colors are going to the outside. And I can't wait to see your guys' post in the Mom and Pop Quilt Shop Mafia Facebook page when you do the block of the month. I love seeing the color variations. There's a Christmas one going on. There's a yellow and blue one going on. And yeah, it's lovely. It's lovely to see all the color variation. Okay, so I'm just going to give you these a quick little heat loving before we put them together with their counterparts. Oops, I should probably go the other way. Oh. New dog, old tricks. Old dog, new tricks. Okay. Okay. Do. All right, don't want that on that side. Okay, now, make sure that stayed there. I thought it was going to move. Sorry. Shake, shake, shake. Shake your chair. All right, don't get that turned around and be confused. Now, if you want, pop a pin. These are two little seams that are essential because they help form that block, right? You got to put those little seams right there next to each other, and these guys right next to each other. Okay. Just hold it steady. Line it up underneath, or not. Fight with it a bit first. Okay, try and line this one up over here. Shifting or tweaking anything that you need to make sure it fits. And then this one, okay, doing the same thing, and then our block's done. And thank you very much for watching, and subscribing, and thumbs upping. We really, really appreciate it. And don't forget to check us out on Patreon, where we've been putting together the Blazing Star of 2017 quilt. It's got some beautiful blocks on it. It's a kit that I picked up from Craftsy, and there's a few people who are sewing along with it, and it's lovely to see. So it's a whole other little quilt project there. If you want to come join us there, and you do usually get the release of the normal videos early. So there's always bonuses to it, and we'll always have other bonus videos too. We're going to Creative Festival, so. Well, you'll see some footage of that because it's this weekend. So here we go. Beautiful. Yes, we're meeting up with a few people there. Check it out. There we go. Square in a square, etc. April's block of the month. Take care, everybody. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.